Yes, people, that's how I feel. Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. That's about how I feel. Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna get into it. This is the trip. I've got Matt, Stan, and Tony, and we hope to see Mr. Tom in a little bit. Yes, there's a lot of screaming going on in the background. That's about what's going on in my head. And yeah, I don't know. It's just this is how I feel right now.
That's what I felt after the second goal.
I was,
Second
I was
goal, I was
listening.
like,
I was listening to Matt today, and basically I was just like, he's just gonna make me do this. You know, that's what's going on there. But man, let's get into it. Everyone, welcome to the show. I've got Matt. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
All
I'm
right,
actually doing good, man. I,
cool,
I did
cool.
I did bring I brought some receipts with me.
All right, he's got receipts, people.
Yeah, I've got
So
one. I've got one right here, right now. I want you to share that for me, my friend. I got one right there for you.
all right,
This will get it live and popping.
all right. So here we go, people. Let's here we go. Well, this is back in the days. This is
2012. Over what is this? 10 years now? 11 years ago?
mm,
11 years ago, Arsenal will compete with the biggest clubs in the world.
mm, mm, mm.
Oh yeah.
All
Oh
right.
yeah.
We will
Oh
bring this back in a bit, but I will say hello to everybody else and everybody in the chat. So you also have Tony. Tony, how are you doing?
feeling a little bit better. Still got pneumonia, bronchitis, a
Yeah.
little bit of
So
this, a little bit of
yeah,
that.
everybody send whatever healing powers you got to Tony. He needs it. His body's not cooperating.
Neither is Arsenal. I
There
definitely
you
didn't
go.
make me
Nothing's
feel better.
working right now. And last but not least, you got Stan. Stan, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. My those of you that have been following my back problems, it's my back is a lot better after a little bit of treatment, and I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about Arsenal this afternoon.
Yes, yes. And we'll get into
Can
that as
you
well. We'll
can
say
you
hello
send
there.
your doctors to Saliba?
We'll send.
Say again.
Said, can you send your doctors to Saliba?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I feel for him because if he's got had anything like I've had, the back and the neck can be very painful and dodgy.
But neck's the worst one for me. Neck just doesn't give up.
Yep. Yep. All right. I'm gonna say hello to everybody in the chat, and we'll get going with our thoughts. Mom's in the house. Welcome to the show. The assembled. Hello, hello. And Sam has joined us. We'll hopefully have some more people joining us in a little bit. Mr. Tom said he was joining. I don't know if he was working today or not, but we'll get into it. So Arsenal, ouch. Uh, Arsenal nil, right in 3, and it didn't even seem that close. I did a watch along for the game. I had to pull out of it early because it was Mother's Day, so I actually had to go barbecue, which meant I think I missed the third goal. I think lucky
You
me.
didn't miss the barbecue. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss
So I should have just
Wish I was
barbecued the
at the
entire time.
barbecue instead of watching that.
Yes, but
Was
you
it
know,
Dew there with you?
if
Was
you ever
it
do
Dew
a
on the
watch,
barbecue?
what?
Said, was it Dew on the barbecue? I know he
No, no,
likes
no
barbecues.
deer, no deer. Just chicken today. Just chicken on the weekend. But I'm doing a watch along, and when you're not able to, I can't even speak. I was so speechless watching that game because I was like, so let me get this right. And I said this going into Liverpool weekend. If we can just win these 3 games, I'll feel good about how we do at the end of this 3-game stretch, and we proceed to go and drew 3 games. Now, once again, 3-game stretch. Let's finish off this season strong. Let's show that we've learned something from the past month or 2. Let's finish strong. Let's actually go out there and play like we got nothing to lose. Play like we got something to play for, and then we come out and do that. That was speechless. It got me speechless. Can't believe the team came out like that. And it's everybody's to blame. Everybody's to blame. I mean, the players on the pitch did not look like they wanted to be there. Arteta must have got. It seems like he got the wrong players out there. I can blame Adu, but I don't think Adu is the reason why the team looked like that. But he is, part of a problem. That's a team-wide problem, but that's more of a season thing than a one game at a time thing. I believe we have the answers to win it, to at least compete in a game like that. But we did not. We looked pretty poor. That was really disturbing, the way we came out and played like that. And we've seen that from our team too often, I think, especially when we talk about having senior players on the squad and people that have actually been in this situation before, right? Jesus has been in a situation before. Jorginho has been in a situation before, So we need some of their leadership in the time of need, and they did not get us going in the right direction. So Mr. Tom is in the background. I'll bring him in here, but I'll let Matt. You can go next. Give me your initial thoughts, and we'll get into the game itself as we move along here. Welcome to the show, Mr. Tom.
What's up, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Thomas.
Greetings, Stanley.
All right. And before you go, Matt, I'll just say hello to everybody. We've got BX Gunner under the code name Star Violet Kitten has joined us, and it was definitely disappointing. Second half. Oof,
How is BX still locked out at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. He did something wrong. And Spencer Bronco in VA, welcome to the show. And so Matt, give me your thoughts initially on this game. I mean, for those who don't know, Matt has been on the wire probably since he woke up. I'm surprised he can talk right now. Did you have your tea?
I am tired. I put it to you that way.
Mm-hmm.
I blame Tony Gunnar Claw for getting me up early this morning at the last second.
Don't blame this Tony.
Yeah, not that Tony. My good buddy. Tony.
I just said you have to say one phrase if you're done.
We had a good chat. We had a good time this morning. Brother Thomas came through and said, "Hey, this morning he was up." And we appreciate you for coming through, Brother Thomas. Yesterday's game, I mean, it's really, man, not too much to say that's not already been said. It was quite the case of an embarrassment. It was a replay of last year's Newcastle game, except this time it was Brighton, a team that has owned us all year long. All year long, Brighton has owned us. The manager came out last week. He said that we would see the true Brighton. And the true Brighton showed up. Too bad we did not see the true. Well, we saw the true Arsenal. Excuse me. I rephrase that, brother Gary. We saw the true Arsenal. The Arsenal that I have been trying to tell you about off camera, the text messages, the phone calls, Gary, the last couple of weeks. And I was telling you, I said, Gary, don't fall for this. You gotta believe, man. You gotta believe, man. We're still on the trip. Believe. Look. We gotta believe. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so, man. This Arsenal team has historically we have embarrassed ourselves. 8 points clear. 7 points going the other way almost. You can't make it up. You can't make this up, what we saw yesterday. You can't make it up. It's just so much to unpack with this game, Gary. It's just so much to unpack with this season.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a little bit. We'll get into that. Anything else on the game from a high level? We'll get into the individual stuff. Anything else? Or you?
Go ahead and pass it over because we'll be going back and forth tonight. So
all right, cool. Tony,
move
on. I kept saying for last few weeks, gotta show the tape of Newcastle to the players. I say that to the Newcastle game. Little did I know, needed to see it about Brighton. They play this off the pitch. I will go out and say the only player that gave a shit was Reece Nelson. Everybody else looked uninspired like last year against Newcastle. Exact same game, but that game was for fourth place this was still for a chance to try to go for a championship. Should have been sealed up by now. Instead, we went on a bad run of form.
I'm hearing a noise in my ears. Is it somebody? Is it nobody? Is it just me?
I heard it.
Okay, I don't know what it is. All right, keep going, Tony.
But sitting here, same position, makes you mad because you got players that.
So, Tony,
All
you
right,
have a
Are you
Bluetooth
are you
on?
talking into a frog?
Is this sound that weird?
It keeps every time you talk. This is a noise that just pops up like a couple seconds after you talk. I don't know.
So the Budweiser frog.
Tony, are you possessed? Tony, are you possessed by any chance?
Hold on a second.
No.
Evil dead. That's a candor.
Let me get into the chat. I'll let you fix that for a little bit. But yeah, we'll talk about what everybody's here is talking about. Yeah, it was appalling. Definitely, any progress was wiped out. I don't think the progress has been wiped out by that performance. It was a bad day for sure. If you're going to take a performance, you're going to take the performance for the last month or the last 2 months, or you're going to take it for the entire season? Because I don't think the season's performance has been wiped out. I think definitely the way we've ended this thing looks no different than last season. So we haven't learned enough to get past this part of the season. Yep, Matt's been on every show, it seems, since this morning. Brighton 5 wins, 4 losses, and 3 draws versus Arsenal in the Premier League. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. We need to be much better than that. Every team can have a bad game, but it shouldn't be happening at this point of the season. We keep making the same mistakes. Don't forget, we just came from beating. Yeah, that's what's disappointing is how can you go out and go on the road to Newcastle and play the way we did, come home and look like a totally different team. Totally different. Not good. Yeah, great season. Yeah, and we'll get into this comment because I think this is where some people are striking down this season and because of what looks like going to be 4 or 5 games, depending on how this season ends. Tony, you fixed that thing?
Yep, I just took them out.
All right, so go ahead. We'll let Stan go. And Mr. Tom.
Well, back in the same situation. Manager not changing his plans. Players not showing up, not showing any passing. Again, I'll give Reese Nelson as the only exception, but he wasn't on the pitch long enough to make a difference. He was trying when he was out there, but I really don't think everybody else was. I think they knew the championship was already gone, so they just kind of played around, stood around. 2 shots on goal. It's just ridiculous. Think you got the wrong lineup wrong formation. Midfield look more abysmal than it has. And we just couldn't get into their half. They had more possession, more shots on goal. Everything you look at, they did better. Definitely did the eye test, the passing test. And here they are on their second manager. Other one went to Chelsea, already been sacked by Chelsea. They're still trotting right along. Because guess what? They got football people in there. It's what Arsenal needs more of. Needs it. We're still short 2 directors. Get some former players in the director's box. Get a real director of football, because I don't think Adu's that. Definitely doesn't get the deals done.
Yeah, we'll get into solutions in a little bit, but anything else? Quick overview of the game. Will everybody have to say?
Yeah, but just it was a shit show like last year at Newcastle. Exact same game. I was afraid we were going to see it when we played Newcastle, but nope, it slipped in a week later.
Yep. And we'll get into a comment like this where does Matt understand? We'll get into comments like this because we are dealing with a Man City team, which is some people saying is not a normal Premier League team. There's something different, but we'll get into that as well. So Stan, Your thoughts on the game from a high level, and we'll get into the details a little bit later.
Looking at this game on its own, just on this individual game and performance, then yeah, I'm incredibly disappointed, and it's probably one of the worst games of football that I've seen Arsenal play this season. I don't think the manager helped either, with some quite peculiar timings of his substitutions. That's looking at this game in isolation. But when I look top down at the whole season so far, we haven't won the league in the last 19 years. This is probably one of the best league seasons we've had in the last 19 years. I see it as an improvement on last year. Last year we finished 5th. We missed out on the Champions League. This season, the target was the Champions League, and we're finishing in 2nd. And I think it just makes it a little bit more... if we'd had a season where, let's say after the first few games, we were in 5th or 6th, and as the season went on, we were gradually, pegging back some points and moving our way up the table, nice and slowly. A couple of draws here, picking up the wins, and then we find ourselves getting into 3rd place. I think everybody would have been happy with that. But I think the fact that we came out of the blocks of this season in 1st place, and we've basically been in 1st place for more than 3/4 of the season now, and then to sort of like run out of gas, lose your purpose, and take your eye off the prize. I can understand that those people that perhaps have been supporting Arsenal in the last 19 years and haven't seen Arsenal lift the league trophy would be bitterly disappointed, because this is the closest that they've come. And I can understand a fan in that situation being angry and wanting to make changes and, I'm sick of this and this, that, and the other. But I think overall, from someone like myself, who's been supporting Arsenal for about 43 years or so, I actually see that we have made improvement. For me, I'm happy with the manager. He's not perfect. He still has to learn his trade and tweak a little bit of his in-game management in places. But overall, my mouth is watering to see what happens in the summer and when we go into next season. And I hope that we can continue to improve. To improve, that means we finish 1st, because that's the only way to go after finishing in 2nd place.
Definitely. I had something I was going to say, and then I lost my train of thought, but we'll get into it. Say hello to Ian. Ian, thanks for joining us on this show. And we'll get into, I think you guys talking about the players. We'll get into the solutions and also the players on the pitch. But go ahead, Mr. Tom. I know your weekend started out looking like it could be promising, and even though it didn't finish with a loss, it did finish with some like what ifs. We can't hear you. I don't think I've muted you.
No, I muted myself. It's fine.
Okay.
It was fine. Apologies. There's a lot to unpack. Okay, but I'm going to start with Arsenal. Wasn't your finest Sunday afternoon at the office. Weren't amazing. A lot's going to get said. A lot of people can be upset. As basically just sad laid it out, basically. There's going to be a lot of people who see it as a missed opportunity. A lot of people who are going to see it as progress. You're not all wrong. There's lots of different ways to look at the same thing. But there is also, but the only thing this weekend that you can look at and go, no one's going to have a different opinion on, is that Patrick Bamford should not have been allowed to take that penalty.
Yeah,
Criminal.
I think Stan's quieted. You quieted yourself as well. We can't hear you, Stan. I'm not muting these guys. Stan,
Sorry.
you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Tom, wasn't you shouting about Bamford just the night before on the stoop? And I started watching that game, and when he stood up for the penalty, I was thinking of you. Well, I hope Patrick Bamford didn't tune in last night.
I could. Oh God, that man. No, right? No, let me get this out, right? He has not had a good season. He has basically, his peak as a footballer was when he got picked for England, and everything after that, he's fallen off a cliff. he scored a goal and got injured. He came back after his injury and got injured in the same game at Wolves, I believe. Anyway, but the point of it is that no matter what that man does, every single person that tweeted his wife and told her that they should kick the child and dog down the stairs is a scumbag. Yeah, that's a thing that happened because Leeds fans are great. And no matter what he does and what I think of him, I would never actually tweet his family some of the things that got tweeted to him. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. More disgusting than the penalty he missed, which was pretty disgusting. So, yeah, Arsenal have not great for you, is it? No. So, like I said, a lot to unpack. But the thing is, my true thought on Arsenal is it's going to be a massive missed opportunity for you because all the teams that have underperformed this season are going to reinforce.
Yep.
And they've got the financial clout to do it.
Yep. And
I
that's
don't, can I just say that? I don't think it's a bigger missed opportunity than the season when Leicester won the league and we finished second, because we should have had that one. Whereas with this season, do you know what I mean? We've got Man City as the one to sort of like fend off, which is a different kettle of fish. But I hear what you're saying.
But the only way I would argue that is the fact that you were chasing Leicester, whereas you were actually in front in this. Like you were fending them off, whereas Leicester were fending you off, and they did it successfully.
I mean, we're the only team that beat them twice that season as well, and we still couldn't capitalise on that.
You know what? You know the reason, obviously not getting the reason Leicester won the league that year, even though they lost to Arsenal twice, was because they beat everyone else in the Big Six. They battered everyone in the Big Six. Like
and they never had points stolen and got apology letters from the PGMOL as well. There's that.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Canty would have intercepted them points anyway. That's how good he was at the time.
True. We'll get into that, but I guess also you have to look at the fact that against the top and bottom of the table, we only got 2 points. And that's not good either. At least you expect to get 4, maybe even 6, but we got 2 against a relegated team. That's also another thing you got to think about. It's like 4 points lost there. So we'll get into it. We'll talk about the teams. Matt, I'll have a little bit of say, and I'll let you get into it. But once again, I look at the starting lineup. It looks like like we saw the previous game. Except for I still wanted Trossard to start. I still don't get. I don't. We'll get into the players, I guess, but I don't like Trossard not starting. I feel like mentally keeps him out of form because he doesn't play, and then when he does come on, he's supposed to be the savior every time, and he doesn't. And he deserves a start, and I think that hurts his performances when he does come on. Because he always comes on asking to do something. That's the only way he gets to play, and I think that's not a good way to manage your players. Players on the pitch, I think, based on what we did the previous game, should have been able to at least compete. They looked like they weren't ready to play, all of them. Not sure anybody looked good from that first 11. Ramsdale didn't do much but kept pulling the ball out of his net. But as a whole, the team looked really poor. Did not like that at all. So Matt, I'll let you get into it. Like for me, man of the match, I don't think there's such a thing in that game.
I mean, everybody got 0 as far as I'm concerned yesterday. I just straight up can tell you like it is, 0 out of 10 for the whole team. That was a weak performance. I mean, what can be said that hadn't already been said about yesterday, Gary? I mean, it was lackluster. You talk about highlights. It was lowlights yesterday, the lowlights. And I mean, just every facet of the game yesterday. It was absolutely criminal. Absolutely criminal, man. However Tom felt when Bamford took that penalty, the same way I felt. I feel right now. I mean, it's whatever energy he has right now, that's the energy that I feel regarding this team. I mean, it's just It's just I think the thing that is really, really stings the worst. I mean, right there is right on cue. It's not the fact that we're not winning the league, it's how we've done it. You couldn't have done it the worst way possible. Worst way possible. I think I've said this before. I think if we were coming from 5th, 4th, or 3rd and finish this second, I don't think it'd really be an issue. But to be in first place 93% of the year and to get on here and me and you do 2-hour podcast transfer window shows, and we talk about this transfer window, get a major injury to a player that crucifies the team, which happens again this year, and then to watch them go out there yesterday, knowing that what City had done, they know that we're kind of really in this thing. We can really crank the pressure up on City, they have to play Madrid, and then they have a tricky game next weekend, and then here you go out there and you lay a goose egg. A goose egg. I mean, lay a goose egg. Gary, I'm just it's the same old crap year in, year out. Year in, year out. We capitulate at the worst time. And we threw away all of these opportunities to win a cup. All these opportunities were thrown away. Thrown away. What was Sam's other question? I can't quite remember, Ralph.
It's right there. Does Matt understand we are human beings and City are like the Cowboys dynasty on steroids?
Well, if they were like the Cowboys dynasty, then they wouldn't have won the title for when's the last time Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl?
Oh, you know what he's talking about. Three Super Bowls in 5 years is what he's talking about.
And how long ago that was?
It doesn't matter. It's a scenario.
That was in the 90s.
It's a scenario, isn't it?
Since Sam went there, this is like the Dallas Cowboys.
Leeds were the best team in the country.
Yeah, that was way yonder. That was way back yonder.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dallas Cowboys and Arsenal share the same. We are has-beens. We used to be. And you still run around. We got fans that run around here like we Invincible was last year. No, that's been almost 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Just about it. No.
If you're gonna say, okay, you can say that too. Then, so then what I'll say to that is, then this is not the Arsenal from what you're talking about when you talk about the way the mentality of the squad, the squad itself in terms of the players that we have, the fact that we have no world-class player, per se on the team. So if you're looking at all of those parameters, how can you then turn around and be so upset? It isn't going to happen overnight, and that's kind of how I look at it as well. Like I always tell you, what I look at, what I see is what I talk about. We don't have a team, that can consistently play, and we've seen it now, 2 seasons now, right? For 38 games. They can't do it.
I know what Sam is saying. Sam is basically saying that in order for us to beat City, we would have to be perfect. Well, guess what? If that's the benchmark that City's put out there, then guess what? In order to win the championship, then you have to play by their rules. If that's the standard that's been set, then guess what? In order for us to do that, then we have to do it. If that's the standard, then that's the standard.
Not everybody can do that.
Yeah, but if that's the standard, Gary, you see, that's what I'm saying. If we're going to go with that argument, and I see Tom shaking his head, if that's the standard that has been set, and everybody,
I don't think that's the standard. You're looking at a one-off.
Hold on, Gary, because people are saying this online. They're saying, "Well, it's a City's got these 90. They've raised the numbers to 93 points, 94 points. So we've got to go. We've got to go get. That's unbelievable. How can we do that? Then guess what, man? That's the standard that has to be met in order to win.
But not everybody can do that. That's the point. You can't just say the standard is you have to have 90 plus points to win it, and then expect everybody who's going to win it to have to do that. That's just that's not a reason. No, that's not a reality. That's not reality at all. Your
club has a responsibility to try, though.
They do. They
Here's the thing, though, right?
But they're not gonna. Nobody's gonna hit those numbers consistently.
But
right?
here's the thing, right? If Manchester City are the standard bearer, and you're using that as the bar to where Arsenal should be, what happens after the investigation into that club if it turns out that indeed that they have been able to have more resources than anybody else in the league should have had because of the way that they've done their financial dealings, which is against the rules laid out by the Football Association? Then that's a false ceiling that they've set. You know, from as far as I can see, we've played within the rules as best as we can in the game of football. But there's a big possibility that Manchester City could be found that they have not played within the rules. So how can you beat a team that's got a stacked deck? That's a false bar. That should not be the standard that we should be looking towards.
Can I just quickly interject?
Yeah, go ahead,
Based on
brother.
what Stan just said, I would like to, in retrospect, in case this does happen, I'd like to congratulate Arsenal on winning the title, just in case Man City are retrospectively punished for their 115 violations of the Premier League rules, Article 47B. I don't know which one, but just in case that happens, I just want to get out there in front. Congratulations on winning the title.
You're trying
Tony,
to be
you want
funny,
to
but
say
it's
something?
not. But
they
nobody's
did it
I
nobody's
wanted to
taking
say
it.
something.
Nobody's taking
They
it. It's
did
not
it
funny.
direct.
We're not going to get the trophy, and that's not the way we wanted to get it, anyways. So, you know, I don't think anybody is like, yeah, I wanted the
I
trophy
thought
by
it was
default.
funny, and that's the main thing. That's the
Uh,
main thing is I enjoy it.
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
you got
Trust me.
nobody
That's the
laughing here.
important thing. Oh, no, I was laughing on the inside. That's the important thing.
Yeah, that just for me. Let's flash back 15 years ago. We finished with 83 points, had 3 losses, only 1 loss before our striker went down, which would be Eduardo. We probably would have had 90 some points. And if you look at some of the players on that team, it would be hard to say that some of these players are better. Let's see. Layman, is he better than we got?
Well, he's got far more experience, hasn't he? He's a lot older profile
Yeah,
of a player.
but not really better
Oh, yeah,
at
he
that age.
was more experience than where
Yeah.
Ramsdale is now in his trajectory of his career.
Then you had Diaby, Sagna, Fabregas, Torre, Sinderos, Rosicky, Dara, Eduardo, Dallas, Robin Van Persie, which never hardly played, Alex Leb, Denilson, Flamini, Song, Gilberto Silva, which I loved, Johan Deru, Lucas Fabinsky, Del Clichy, our great backup of Almunia that everybody loves. And yeah, Justin Hoyt, Theo Walcott, and a bunch of other young players. But par on par, I say this year, better players.
Yeah, better players, but are they comparing? You comparing that to City's players? Because I think everybody believes they have a really good squad as well, 15, 16 deep, right? Go
Of
ahead,
course. I
Matt.
mean, when you can play a player like Mahrez in the game and he scores a hat trick, and in the following game he's on the bench. I mean, that's just a different breed of different kettle of fish, isn't it?
Stan, so
But the manager 2 years ago said we had too big of a squad. Last year, he said it was too small. So we went from too big to too small to what we got now.
all right, hold on. Let me hop in there right quick, and to just put my 2 cents in here. We had a January transfer window to rectify a lot of these problems. We had a window. We spent $160 million. So I don't know if Anthony's in the chat or not, but I believe that number is right. $160 million this year. We bought a $35 million midfielder who really hadn't contributed much outside of maybe a game or two to the team. We brought in a Polish center back who was working on tying his shoes yesterday during the game. And then we brought in Trossard, who was on form and was removed from his position to come off of the bench when he was hot as hotcakes. And he came in, and then to come back in bit parts through the rest of the season, can never regain his form. Meanwhile, we had an opportunity to bring in the defensive midfielder who bossed us around yesterday for $90 million. They say 90, we come with 60. Then we had an opportunity, whether you wanted him or not, you could have brought in Mudryk. You were linked to Tielemans for free, well, almost for free. You had opportunities to bring in player after player after player. So we've had opportunities to bolster this team, and we failed to do so. And that's not that falls somewhat on the manager, but y'all know what I'm about to say. And I feel like that January transfer window, same thing happened last year, where we did not take opportunities to strengthen the team to get us over the line. I know you can't guarantee a player get you over, but in a case of break glass in case of emergency, when Saliba went down, we went to tried and true Rob Holding.
Yep.
And then we ended up having to go to an inexperienced center back in the middle of a title race in a Premier League who don't have any Premier League experience. And I sat right here, the first week in February, I sat right here and I said, "You telling me you can't find one quality center back on pennies on the dollar to come in just for a little while to help get us over the line, or a player to help us get over the line?"
Yeah,
It's the same thing same thing I told Tom about Leeds and the striker. I said right here, and I said Patrick Bamford is not the man to get Leeds over the hump. And it's not that they couldn't beat anybody; they can't score. They're scuffling trying to score, and that's literally been the problem for them. I see this stuff, man. I see right here and look at it week in, week out. Week in, week out. We have squandered so many opportunities to bring in quality players. And y'all know how I feel about Mikel Arteta. And for those who have watched me make the circles today, y'all know how I feel. This is year 4. This is the phase 74, or whatever they call it. And where are we going? Where are we going with this? I'll say it the same thing I said Jez earlier today. I'll say it here on this channel. Next season, because this season is a wash. Next season for me, there's 2 things I'm looking at. One, we're challenging on all fronts. I don't want to hear anything about, we don't have this, that, and the third. Nope. All titles, every piece of silverware that's involved, starting with this Community Shield against Man City, because we're gonna see them again right out of the gate. That needs to be. We need to be challenging for that. That's the first piece of silverware. I don't care if it's the Charity Shield. We need to be challenging for it. Carabao Cup, we need to be challenging for it. FA Cup, we need to be challenging. Champions League, we need to be looking to make a strong late run. The Premier League next year, just like Stan said, or finish second, we need to be finishing first next year. Then, on top of that, we need to make sure that the transfer business is done early as possible. I do not come to the United States and you do not have quality players signed. I will call TSA and have them turn the plane back around and go back to Heathrow. You will not come to the United States with slop this year and expect folks to pay top dollar to go watch that. No, we're not doing it. Next season will be the most important season due to the fact that everyone else is strengthening around us. Sheiks are coming in here. We got all money. We got all kinds of money. We got all kinds of goodies and people showing up. If we do not get our act in order, we are in trouble next year. We're in major trouble. I said it last year. Yeah, we finished in second place this year. But a large part was look how bad some of the teams were around us. This is mirrors kind of like with Leicester City. Because you had top dog. I think that's the year. Wasn't that the year that Chelsea was struggling at the damn near the bottom or something like that? Yeah. So I mean,
Mourinho got sacked.
Yeah, that was that year, and people were fumbling around and bumbling it all.
Then they won Then they won it the next year.
Next year, this is what I'm saying. It's like we got
Liverpool
to
finished eighth and finished second the next year.
for next year. We got to get an order for next year, man.
Maybe if Man City were playing, if the allegations turn out to be true, maybe if Man City were playing, the same game as everybody else and by the same rules as everybody else, maybe we would have finished first this season. And as for missing out on players, I think that if you look at last season, our owners have made sure that we've got the money available for players, but it's really hard to attract the top tier players when there's no guarantee of a Champions League. One of the reasons why we didn't get a Vlahovic, for example, but now that we're finishing in second place and the Champions League is nailed on, I would say that there are agents ringing Arsenal now, inquiring about, what they're looking for and that they might have a player that fits the profile. And it's going to be a lot easier to attract better players. So I don't blame it all on the management. I mean, there's a lot of factors of getting a player in, right? The selling club has to agree to sell to you, and the player has to want to come to you. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You only have to look at Chelsea. That money isn't always the answer to everything. They just went out and laid all the money out, brought all these people in, and look at the shambles that they're in. I think also with Mikel Arteta, he pays more attention to the profile of the player, not just on the pitch. How they're going to fit into the team with everybody else, their home life, their personality, and that I think Arsenal spend a lot of time looking at that, and we won't get drawn into bidding wars. We're not going to look at a 20 million pound player, and then a couple of other teams come in and we go and get that player for 35. They won't do that, and I quite like that they won't do that. As for having a big team, and then like Tony mentioned, and then going down, we need a smaller team. That's not necessarily on the numbers. I think it was some of the personnel that we had. He didn't want them around the place. They were a bad influence and a bad smell. Ozil,
but he said we had too many players.
Ainsley Maitland-Niles. These are players that he didn't want in the team, and he wouldn't keep them just to have the numbers bolstered. And I have to take my hat off to him for that, for being that stubborn and sticking to his values and not just keeping dead wood around in case we need some players. He wants to have a nucleus of a team where everybody's on the same page and then look for players to bring in that will complement and fit in to what he's doing. And I like that integrity.
I was just going to say that I think Arteta did get the players that he needed in January. Maybe not Kiwior, but definitely with Trossard and Jorginho in, and he had players that he could utilize. He did not. I mean, it's nothing to be said that when Trossard started, we won all the games he's played in, right? Could it be luck? I don't know, but I like to go back to if it's luck.
I agree with you on that, Gary. Team selections and substitutions. That's another subject for me. That's right.
No, but I mean we can't just talk about the players and stuff like that and not talk about how we did have some answers. We never used them. And when I look at that, I'm like, if you're not going to use Jorginho and Trossard at this point in the season, for whatever reason, then we're going to have a similar situation because every other player, unless he's coached them, is going to be under the same issue. And even Jorginho is a player that he had his eyes on for years. So if that's the case,
we had our eyes on Jorginho years ago when he was at the peak of his powers. But this time round of bringing him in, that wasn't like, I can't get Jorginho. That was like, I can't get Casado.
Yep.
I can't get someone else. I'll get this guy in as a stopgap, hence the 18-month contract.
Well, the reason why I bring up Jorginho is because
he probably wouldn't have brought Jorginho in if El Neni had been fit.
Yeah, no, but what I mean, Jorginho is a definitely better improvement in what our El Neni is.
Yeah, agree.
But the reason why I bring up Jorginho is not because he can start lots of games for us in a row, but he can come in there and stabilize the way the game's going. I believe if we gave him 20 to 30 minutes a game when we needed it, which we didn't use him enough in that stretch of games, I think we'd be better off. Right, we might have been able to close out games or maybe even go ahead in the games that we needed. So I kind of felt like he had the tools in his toolbox. He didn't use them. Trossard starting seems to work. Him coming off the bench isn't working at all. So if he's going to play for us, He's going to have to start based on the way that they use him when he comes in. It just doesn't seem to work. Not enough for us unless we throw numbers at it, right? Like in the Southampton game. It's the only time we brought him on where we actually got something out of the game. So I kind of feel like those two players would have definitely helped. And if Kirill was coming in January and is coming in during the fact that we are in a title race, he has to play, or else why are we bringing him in? It's a waste of money. All right? It is a waste of money. If you're not going to utilize him, it's a waste of money because we don't have time for a project, and I talk about that. If he's a project, then who does a project in the middle of a title race? Nobody. They don't really have time for that. We've seen Liverpool bring in what, Diaz, I think, in a January window, and it helped them solidify a top 4 finish, right? That's kind of what we need, and I believe we had that in Trossard and Jorginho, and we missed the opportunity there.
Gary,
maybe. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Gary, when the transfer window opened, Liverpool, what did Liverpool do on the first day of the transfer window? What was the first thing they did?
And I got Gakpo.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, no, they had to iron somebody got it. I know, Tony, you got it. I know I kind of jumped in there and took a bit of the airways from you, but go ahead and hopefully you still remember what you were going to say.
As I go on a different tact here, we're gonna do a quick thing here. How many left backs do we need next season?
14.
Well, how many do we need? I think we have what we needed. We just never used them the right way. Right? If they're going to, for me,
do you really think Tierney's okay?
Well, now I don't know.
Zinchenko isn't one.
Yeah. Arteta wants cookie cutter and copycats for every position, and I don't think that's normal. I don't think that's normal at all. And I don't, and I also don't believe he saw that when he was in City. If you look at City, if they have to, they will take. Remember, we talked about this versatility of all of our players. You saw that they'll move them around. Arteta doesn't do it enough, and supposedly we have versatile players that can play. Like for instance, Saka can play left back and probably do a decent job in when it's warranted. It probably was warranted at some point in the season. We never used it. All right. We saw Bernardo Silva drop back and play on the back line. All right. So it can be done, and you can't. We have all this versatility. We never use it. Ben White can come in and play center back. We don't use him. All right. The fact that Saliba and Gabriel have to play every game is ridiculous. When you also have a Ben White, at some point you got to rotate. And we talked about this early in the season. We have all these players that are versatile, and we never use it. What's the point of that?
Even in other cups, because half of the games you'd end up having 10 starters during the whole game out there, so we weren't filling weak sides.
Like I said, I think
we used to field 17, 18, 19-year-old players out there and get to the semifinals or quarterfinals of whatever cup.
I assume those are also the days when you had really good players that you can play in those games. Now you can't. All right.
Yeah, but I just went 15 years ago. Those players.
I think everything's
minus Eduardo.
Changed. I believe everything has changed.
Aren't much better.
Maybe it's me, but I think things have changed there with that.
No, I'm just saying that was our best year. 83 points.
Yeah.
Finished.
83 gets you. It looks like second place right now.
Quarterfinals.
Injured.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like had we went to Brighton with a decent piece of change, we'd have went in there. We could have got Salcedo. There are a couple of deals there. I feel like if we could have did the business, we could have went in there and got who we wanted to get. And I just honestly feel like Arsenal dithers around and dither.
And that's the first name I seen last night or this morning was Casado, I think.
Yeah. And you know it's gonna be a whole different ball game this time if you try to go get him.
And why can't we go sign any of the free agents that contracts are expiring?
Well,
me and Stan like Indica. We could have signed him in January and announced it already.
You know, Tony Gunner brought up a good point this morning. He said, you know, you got Leicester City looking like they getting ready to go down. You telling me go with Madison, go get 2 or 3 of those players for pennies on the dollar with some couple of players we need to offload going the other way?
We made that mistake 2 years ago with some of those all three of those relegation teams 2 years ago.
Luca FC asked me this morning. He said, "What you think about Ward Prowse?" I mean, for pennies on the dollar, yeah.
I don't know. Does he give us what we want though, outside of a free taker, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
I've asked this question. Maybe you have an answer. What does Ward Prowse do besides a free kick? Tell me.
If Ward Prowse came into this team, it goes back to having. We talk about those numbers. Put him on a 2-year deal. Pay to play contract or something. You know, just something to But stuff like set pieces. How many? Tom likes to pull up stats. And you can look at how many set pieces that we have scored from this year.
But that is not a stat that we're going to bring a player in. Tell me what else he does, because Arteta isn't going to.
Okay, well, all right, let's take Ward Prowse.
I'd rather sign David Prowse.
Let's take Ward Prowse out table there. So what about
He played Darth Vader, didn't he?
What about Madison?
I'll take Madison. Madison definitely. I think that'd be a player we definitely could use. I mean, one would create competition. I think everybody looks at players coming in and goes, "No, why?" Because we have Erdegaard. Well, I think we found out we need to have really good quality players on the bench more than we need to have like the cheap option, right? The cheaper option. I'd rather have top players on the bench.
The reason why,
because then you can rotate and you won't miss a beat.
The reason why I pose that, Gary, is if I'm going to start stepping back when I start talking about these transfer windows and stuff. Because me and Gunner Clark go do a transfer show once a week now, and I'm going to go this year. I'm going with it from the Arsenal approach, because those are 2 type players that Arsenal will go sign, and then they, hey man, this is world class stuff here. If it was me spending money, because see. Stan alluded to this earlier. If it was me, since we're in the Champions League now, if we are in the Champions League, because we were fed this for 3 years, we get in the Champions League, we can go attract the better player. We're going to attract the better player. Don't waste the whole time running after somebody that they have no intentions of getting or not willing to pay the money for. And then gloss it up and say, well, we're not going to get outbid. When everybody, we can go get a better graded player. Because it's a different ball game when you try and get Champions League players. You got to compete with every other club in Europe for that player. So players like this, normally would you go back a year or two, everybody, oh yeah, man, James Madison. With Madison. And now it's, everybody's looking like, well, man, it's relegation, man. They're down at the bottom, man. It's down at the bottom. Yeah.
Matt, how many midfielders do we need?
We need to remove. Well, first off, we need to get rid of.
They're all 30.
Yeah, you beat me to the punch. I was going to say we got about 4 players that's 30 plus. I'll get ready to be 30 plus. And we got to start offloading these guys to get some kind of money in. Something. We can't afford to let people walk out of this club for free anymore. We got what Maitland-Niles is going for free. You got Reece Nielsen's going for free. Somebody else there is on the way out.
I can't keep track of all the ones.
Yeah, I mean, our deal. I mean, this is Edu, man. I mean, this guy here, man. I mean, it's a joke.
Stan, you got anything you want to say on that?
It always makes me chuckle a little bit with that. Once a player gets to 30, that's it. They're done. It's like fucking Logan's Run. Do you know what I mean? You've got to die when you're 30. There's plenty of players that can go on over 30 if they've got the right environment around them and the right quality. Look at Modric and Cruz. And it is good to have a little bit of experience in the team. They can't all be 24. And as Mikel Arteta said,
another year now.
But when those 30-year-olds all centralize in the same area of the pitch,
Mikel Arteta,
right? Doesn't it weaken you?
Mikel
because
Arteta said that
we know Partey can't go over 20 games a season.
He doesn't.
I don't think we want him to give him more than 10 starts a season.
Sorry, I
El
thought you said
Neni,
Dan. Continue. Go on.
El Neni's off the bench. Sorry, right? And then, so
the-
you got those are 3 of our
you,
30-year-olds, right? All in the same area of the pitch. I kind of feel like that weakens
when you
us. Don't
got
you
4
think,
or
Stan?
5 of them, I know you love El Nini, but would you keep him another year, Stan?
No, I mean, I would, for example, I'd like to move El Neni on, and I would like to keep Xhaka, but I would like Xhaka to have, less responsibility and be less of a first starter and have somebody else that's coming in there,
So
but
you
keep
would
Xhaka for
trigger
the
his
experience, because as
last
Matt
1
said,
year
right,
extension we
we
can
want
do.
to be fighting, on 4 fronts, and for the Caribou Cup, I'd like to see us being able to put out some youngsters in the Caribou Cup team with somebody like Xhaka in there to galvanize and hold it together in the early stages of that competition, for example. So there's
That's
still
what we always
I still
had. That's
think
what we were used to.
huh?
So that's what we were used to, all these young players.
Yeah, but we're in a
Phil-
situation now where we basically have to play our first 11 for every competition at the moment, because we've only got about
Yeah,
another
I know,
5
it's ridiculous.
4 or 5 players after that. It's not even a full team yet. And I've always felt that when I looked at us, sort of like after some games in this season, I thought to myself, the only thing that's really going to mess us up is that we don't have enough reinforcements. We just don't. A couple of injuries to key players, and it's going to wreck us. And look, now we've got a situation at right back where we can't even really rest Betty White if we wanted to, because there's no one else really to come in. If we put anyone else in there, that would be a square peg in a round hole. Now, Zinchenko's out, we've got to rely on Kieran Tierney and hope that he doesn't fall to pieces within the 90 minutes of the next 2 games. And we know that he has a penchant for, getting knocks and bruises and muscle tears or whatever it is. So we're pretty hamstrung, and this team still hasn't been filled out. And I don't blame. Well, someone can say, well, then that's the manager's fault. It's not the manager's fault if he's got the money, but as I mentioned before, he wants to get the right players, and he doesn't want to just go, well, you'll do for now. He done it with Jorginho, but at least Jorginho has a bit of a CV. He has a bit of a background. He's been there and done it, so it does help. But they've only given him an 18-month contract, as opposed to a Willian when they said, yeah, mate, have 4 years. And here's your slippers and dressing gown.
I heard that. Mr. Tom, you got anything on? I mean, we're talking players here. Bringing in.
I don't care about Arsenal's players. What I am going to say is I'd like to congratulate the Leeds United under-21 team on getting promotion from Premier League 2, Division 2 into Premier League 2, Division 1. Yeah, it's a thing, Gary. Don't worry, it's a thing. Basically, we did the football equivalent of cheating. Because basically what we did was we bought a player in January in the transfer window for 35 million, and then we deployed him in the under-21s against Nottingham Forest tonight, and he scored the opening goal. So he probably cost more than the entire Forest under-21 team. So Stan, how many rules do you think we broke with that? I don't know. It's a financial. Can you do financial doping in the under-21s? Is that a thing?
I thought you.
don't
I
think
mean,
so.
we've seen. I thought it all has to do with the
You can
average
send
age,
all those
anyways,
players
doesn't it?
together.
Right? Isn't that how any player can go play? I mean, we've had a
Well,
part.
no, he is under-21.
Okay, so then that's not it. Then, so you're saying you cannot spend all this money to play and have him play in the lower division, play with the lower.
I think
U21s?
it's a sad indictment that we're playing him in that.
So it's not. It's
Was,
not cheating.
was he
then.
injured previously, Tom?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
But no, but seriously, congratulate. Yeah, well, that's a thing we're known for. But
Yeah.
in all seriousness, congratulations to them. It's a rare moment of we've not messed this up.
There you go.
Question to
Yeah,
everybody
that's
on
what we
the panel except Mr. Tom. Raise your hand if you've seen Arsenal win a league title before. I said except Mr. Tom.
I didn't want to be left out.
Okay. So when did you see your sports? What year was that, Tone? When did you? What was you?
I seen him from 97 to 2004, so a couple of those in there.
How old was you at the time?
When was the last one? 2003?
Yep, 2003.
But you said 97, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's when I
I
started.
know. I'm just trying to because I just think that a lot of the
23.
people
I was
The reason I'm
23,
asking the question
43.
is because
I'm
I
23.
didn't.
I'm 43. Stan.
How
so
old?
I'm 43 now. I was 23, so 20 years.
Okay. So the reason I asked the question, it's not one of those like, oh, you've never seen Arsenal win. I've got this thing in my mind that people that haven't seen Arsenal win a league title as yet, because it's been a while, right? It's almost 20 years. I think that I have always got it in my mind that they're the most angriest at the moment and the most disappointed at the moment because you get so close, right? And you're going to be, you support your football team. You go to the match every week, or you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, or depending on where you are in the world. And in the last 19 years, there've been a lot of shit seasons. Kazi, terrible seasons. We're lucky we managed to patch over it with things like FA Cups, which some supporters don't even get that. Some people have supported their team as long as I've been supporting Arsenal, never seen their team even in the semi-final of a competition. They're always fighting for relegation to stay up, or the mid-table, or what have you, or they're a yo-yo club. But that's the reason I asked this question. But okay, so it's not that then. Only Gary hasn't seen us win a league title as yet.
I've been alive for all of that, but I just haven't,
Yeah,
I was
you weren't.
busily
Yeah,
watching
I
them,
get that.
so following them.
Okay.
No,
So
but you know what? The one thing,
maybe my theory
thing,
is wrong then. Maybe my
well,
theory is wrong.
I think since we are a big fan base, you're gonna get everything. You're gonna get the older fans who've been watching them since birth, basically, and they want us to get back to that, and they're upset. And you've got the young team, the young fans who watch these other teams like their city friends enjoying life right now, right? Not knowing how bad it was before, right? So you got it all. So I say all the time, I just go by what I see, and that makes it easy for me to digest
I just
what
find it
I'm
very
taking in, and
difficult
that's what a
with
lot
that
of
when I
fans
go.
can't do.
I just find it very difficult that when I go on social media over the past few days now, couple of 24 hours or whatever, and I see people on there saying that Mikel Arteta has to go. He has to go. He's absolute shit. I don't understand what that is based on. I really don't get it. I don't understand what they are basing that on. Who are you going to bring in? You can't just go, right, we'll get rid of him and bring in Zidane. Zidane might look at all these players and go, these ain't my players. We're starting this rebuild again. And then how long we got to wait for that to take place?
He's not coming because he doesn't want to do that rebuild. He hasn't had to do it, and why should he?
Who?
Zidane. He's not going to want to do a rebuild.
Would it be better
right?
if I chose another manager? When I said
no,
Zidane,
I'm just saying this.
Luis Enrique.
Yeah.
Luis Enrique, then Nagelsmann, Sam Allardyce, whoever comes in, it doesn't mean that they're going to gel with the team that we've got. This is Mikel Arteta's team.
Yep.
They love him. When Mikel Arteta is pissed off at them, they take it to heart. They don't go, yeah, whatever, and just go out and walk around on the pitch. They respond to him. That's where he's got them. And I think that, I just think that he's doing a brilliant job. It's not a perfect job. It's not perfect, but to get us to where we are this season, I'm so proud. It will be disappointing if next season we finish 6th or 5th. Then you got to say to yourself, hold on.
I'm sorry to interrupt here. I guess I was so oblivious to what was going on. I just saw the play where Kiwior was tying his shoelaces with the ball coming through the box, and I'm like, okay, so I was blaming Turner for that miscommunication. If you're going to do that in the middle of a game with the ball coming through the box on a set piece, what?
So do you think? Okay, do you think Rob Holding? Do you think Rob Holding in the same situation would react the same, or would he continue running? What do you?
You're the last line of defense. You got the work. You break your leg. You do anything you can. You make sure the ball does not go in the box. Everybody didn't want
Rob Holding in the team. Everyone's like, Rob Holding shouldn't play for Arsenal anymore.
What I'm saying is,
why did he play Kiwior before? He played 2 left backs and it worked. Then as soon as he makes a mistake, players make mistakes. So what?
What player decides to tie shoelace in the middle of a set piece?
If Rob Holding's shoe that comes off, he won't stop to put it back on. He'll keep running, even though the rest of his game is shite. Do you see what I'm getting at? It's fine margins. Do you see what I'm coming from?
Oh, no, left back you can have.
It's fine margins, right? Everyone's like, you got to get rid of Holding now. Why didn't he play Kiwior from all them games back? Holding shit. Kiwior's shoe comes off, he sits down and everyone's going, what are you doing? But maybe Rob Holding would keep running, but it doesn't mean that he should maybe still be in the team, right? Players make mistakes. They're human beings. as long as they learn from it, then I can't knock them. If they learn from it and they get better, happy days. If they keep doing the same shit, no. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I don't know what coach would ever say when the ball is in the box. Sorry, it wasn't a set piece, but when the ball is in the box and you're defending to keep, and you fall down and you decide, no, I'm going to stay down here and tie my shoelace.
The guy got stamped on the back
I
of his
don't
heel.
know much about soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, but I do know this.
Moment, when the studs went into the back of his heel to take his shoe off, it was like his shoe just come off, and he was like,
I'm not talking about that part. I'm pointing to the response to that is to stay down there.
You don't know how hurt he was. You don't know the pain that could have been going through his leg when he got the studs on the back of his heel. You don't know that.
The emotional pain was much more damning. The emotions.
Okay.
Let's
hang him then. Let's hang him.
I'm not saying we're going to hang him. Well, this is why.
And we should throw tomatoes at him. Fuck him.
I must admit, though.
No shit. Get rid of him.
No. What I will say is that's why he's not
put his shoes on properly. I don't want him.
No. You're making fun, but what I'm saying is that is why is he the right player to bring in this situation? We have trophies on the line here. Is he the right kind of, when you're looking at the characteristics of a player, would he be the right kind of player for that situation that you're bringing in?
Well, fucking Gabriel Jesus can't hit a fucking barn door with a fucking banjo.
That's a different story. I'm just talking.
We keep playing him, even though he can't put the ball in the back of the net. We keep playing this guy as a striker. Why? It's obvious that he's a wide forward. It's no different to Theo Walcott playing on the wing and saying to everyone, I'm a striker. As soon as he got his chance to play for the middle, he couldn't do it. And he was like, can I go back out in the wing? But it's the same thing.
But Theo...
But that's what we've got. We ain't got nothing else. I'd rather him running through the middle and Eddie and Ketia.
As many goals as Walcott.
Sorry, Mr. Tom, I know you like it.
Walcott actually scored. As much as he might have frustrated, he did score. You think Jesus is ever to get that many goals, Stan?
I don't know, man. I mean, he's been out for quite some games as well. What's he got now? 10 goals in, 20-something appearances? It's not even one. It's just over 1 in 2. I don't think, for me, that's good enough for a team that wants to dominate. Personally, I don't.
Can we have one more raise of hands? If Jesus never came back this season, would we win the league?
It's coming back, and then there's like cementing your spot right away. Not only that, you had won 7 games in a row with a player on the pitch at that point in time.
And you started scoring 4 or 5 goals a game, which you should have been doing the entire season.
I'll say this. We were on a roll before changes were made. And after changes were made, like I said, Trossard was hot. He was in form. Now it's all, what ifs and maybes now. That's where we at now. So but I will say we were rolling, and then Jesus dropped right back into the team.
But me personally, now these guys, they don't even skip no contact training. They go right back into contract, never go into the under 21s. They're just smacked back in the team. They've been gone for 4 months, but they're thrown directly back into the team. You got to get your fitness before you're.
So I don't know. Somebody asked for a poll. I can put a poll up real quick. So Jesus was introduced into the starting 11. If he wasn't introduced into the starting 11, would Arsenal won the league?
If Jesus was in the starting 11, we really won. If Jesus was in the starting, not Jesus, but if Jesus was in the, then we would have won.
Yeah, I'll put it out there. You guys can answer it if you want. Just let me know. But I like I said, I have been one to say certain players need to come back immediately, but I've never really, not at the end of a season when we're looking at what we were doing. We just needed to win our next 3 games, and then we could see where we stood going into that City match. And as I say, don't want to mess with a good thing. I think we kind of did. Let's go, Mr. Tom.
I I didn't actually have it on my bingo card that Stan was going to pimp the Leeds manager for the Arsenal job. He named Mr. Allardyce. I didn't see that one coming. So that kind of took me by surprise. But leave my manager alone. Leave Big Sam alone. Also, no one has mentioned the elephant in the room regarding your season. The fact that once you played Leeds, you fell off a cliff. You didn't win for a month after you squeezed by us.
Was that called the same Sam Greenwood curse? Is that what you're trying to say, Tom?
Just making the factual argument that we might have ran the steam out of you.
Yeah, see.
Get ready.
You didn't win.
Get ready. Pepe is on the way back. Lakonga's on the way back.
Yeah, that's the other part of this whole thing is we talk about all the players we need to bring in. Is I think I counted like 7 or 8 players that need to go. I mean, one of them I don't. Who said that? I was Biggs Gunner. I think he had Partey, one player in there. I don't know if we can get him out without hurting ourselves even more. But we have a lot of players. I mean, I always kid and say 5 to 10 players we need to bring in, and we're kind of not necessarily 5 or 10 that we have maybe those players in house, maybe. But we need.
Yeah, but we need
about
3 freaking strikers. We don't have one striker.
Yeah, we need about 5 or 10 just to get into our rotation is what I'm thinking, in squad and all of that. Players that we can depend on, Arteta can depend on.
We don't have a right back unless you want to switch White to a right back. I mean, they're just.
But White is a right back. What do you mean?
He's a center back.
Well, he's playing right back for us, and he started there. You'd think we're going to go out and.
We have to get one. Tomiyasu ain't no work.
Injuries, yeah. Well,
Tierney will want somewhere else, I would imagine.
That's why we probably need 5 to 10 players, because we need 5 to 10 players Arteta's going to trust.
Let's
All
see.
right.
2, 4, 7. I count 10 easily, and that's not. I don't think we really need any wingers, but.
I mean, I assume Balogun could be one of the strikers you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, might be the only player out of the ones that have left us and gone on loan that we could bring in and actually really use. Is Emil Smith-Rowe healthy, or is he done?
He's done. We should have figured this out with Wilshire and all those other players that just constantly hurt.
Yeah.
You got to be ruthless.
Yeah, let's see. We don't need 5 to 10. Absolutely, just need 4 stud players. We could bring 5 to 10 wrong players. Well, not. I mean, you can bring in 4 studs and it don't work either, right? I mean, it isn't like, we've seen. You keep talking about the money. Look at Chelsea brought in what people would consider studs into their squad. Did it work out? It didn't work out. So it's gotta work as well.
Look at what they spent on forwards the last 2.5, 3 seasons.
Yeah. I just think in the marketplace that we're looking at, that's where you can get the 5 to 10 players basically.
They probably spent $600 million on forwards.
Yeah. Anybody see us spending 160, 170 on Caicedo and Rice? Because, I mean, that's what it's going to probably cost us.
I kept hearing, just like in the December window, that we really don't have much to spend because we're trying to watch financial fair play. Because we don't get any value for players, then we spend more than we need to for the players.
Yeah. Stan, I know you wanted to say something.
No, I think we get one of those 2. And if we never had other positions that we needed to fill as well, then maybe we could get both of them. But with the money that maybe we'll have available, we get one and we get some others in for the other positions as well. I definitely think that we are missing something else through the middle in that area.
Do you
Yeah.
think we overpaid for Jesus? 50 million. He only had 6 months left, and he
I
was
thought it was
available for
42.
bid.
No, I thought it was like 42 or something.
No, it was 50.
Was that what was that? Euros, dollars? I thought it was like 42.
Pounds.
With Jesus, I remember watching some games when he was playing on the right wing more for Man City. They were playing in a formation where he was on the right hand side, and they kind of had like players like Phil Foden and that sometimes in the middle.
Yeah, he did that sometimes this year, and we looked better when he would do it, but it was hardly any amount
Well, I
of
don't
time.
think I've seen him playing off the wing at all this season. And when he was playing,
He
when I
played on the
saw him,
left a little bit. Not much.
maybe
45
rotating with the
million
player on the
pounds.
left, but I mean, as specifically as a starting
No.
position, I saw him
No.
doing this for Man City a season or two ago, and I was really surprised that he was very productive from that position. He was still coming in with goals, and he was still coming in with assists. And I've always felt that we keep talking that we need somebody to share that right hand side with Xhaka. And I think we already have that person. If we bring in a forward, a strong, powerful forward, is
Yeah,
what
I agree.
think we need. Someone like Vlahovic, maybe not him, but somebody like that. You know, some games Jesus could find himself through the middle, but other times he could be rotating with Xhaka as well and still have a place in this squad and be important. But I think if sticking with him, all of the games that we've been playing with him in that position, I'm not exactly convinced.
All right,
You know?
let me
But
just
then
say hello
again-
to a couple of people real quick. Sorry about that. Got Cheddars in the house. Welcome to the show. And Steven has joined us as well. Welcome. Continue on. Sorry, Stan.
I was just going to say, then again, when Bobby Firmino was playing a lot through the middle, he wasn't, he scored some goals. I wouldn't mind, I don't know what the stats are, but I wouldn't mind looking back and seeing how many goals he scored this season. Because the way that we're playing now, we have goals coming from other places in the team. We're not just dependent on a striker and a
I
wide
looked that
player.
up for you once.
We've got a
Stan.
lot of
I
we've got a
can
lot
do
of
it another
variety
time.
in the team for goals.
Do you have to look it up for another time for you, Stan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that, Tony?
I've looked up Bobby Firmino for Stan before.
Did you? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He started
Well,
off at a pretty good.
Matt, did you put
He
your hand
started
up? I
off
don't know if you
slow,
put your
then
hand
he
up.
picked up pace.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Matt's been chatting all day. Yeah, no, I think we're gonna have to spend if we want to see. If we're talking about 4 studs, we're talking at least 250 plus, right? I mean, I
But
just
then you're still gonna be short. You're not gonna be able to compete in all those competitions unless he changes what he does and uses the young players, academy players, a mix of squad and academy players. We haven't seen him do that. So he has to change. And we haven't seen him do that in 3 years, not to be 4 years. So
Yeah. Well, I think it's also the case, as you say, where he has to change in the sense that it can't be, here is the plan A, and it only works for all of my 20 plus players. He has to change things around when he brings in certain players. He has to, because we're never going to have 16, 17 players like a City that we can just bring anybody in, move them around, and not see much of a difference
how much
in
longer do you
performance.
think he can keep playing soccer 3,300 minutes a year at this age and not really winning anything before he wants to leave, or just the player burns out or gets hurt?
I think
That's
we're already
a
at
lot-
that point where
that's a
that
lot
needs to change already. That needed to change last season when he was playing too much. I mean, that's the thing. It needed to have changed already. We're already he needs to rotate. He needs to be able to rotate his players, and he needs to do that since day one, as far as I'm concerned.
And there's
You know,
somebody like Gabriel.
I think
Gabriel's at almost 4,000 minutes. That's just insane.
Yeah.
Do you think
for,
that we
for
are
early cup exits and stuff?
Do you think that we are now comfortably in a place where it's, whether you care about, I don't know whether you're sort of the sort of people that look at finances and that sort of the game, or whether you're like, I don't care, it's not my money. But do you think Arsenal is now in a place where we can justify spending, say, 300 grand a week on a player's salary. Because what I've heard about Declan Rice, I heard it today. I was listening to something while I was doing some work, and they were saying that Arsenal are going to bid 90 million, and the contract will be around 300 grand a week. And that's going to be similar. The contract will be similar to what Saka's being offered. Do you think that we're in that place where we've got a number of players with that kind of money? And the reason I ask that question is it's just like when we've gone there before and we've rewarded players with, you know, very lucrative salaries, they always seem to lose form, go off the boil, not care. I don't know what you want to call it, but they don't perform to the level that they were performing at before they earned the pay rise. And I'm worried. I'm worried about this.
Can I hop in on that?
Yeah, man.
I absolutely think it's atrocious. $300,000. What was the number? I heard my mind's fried from talking all day. 300,000, and somebody is up for 100,000. I can't remember who the other person was. Saliba. I think it was was it Saliba? It was somebody. 300,000 one way, 100,000 another way. That's $400,000 for two players. When you hear $400,000 in a team, I'm looking for Tony Cruz. I'm looking down at the team sheet for Tony Cruz. I'm looking for players from Real Madrid. I'm looking for players from Barcelona. I'm looking for Bayern Munich players. I'm looking for the top, the creme de la creme. Surely Neymar's on that list. $300,000 for a player, and part of this is due in part to he's burnt out mentally. So I'm not going to beat on him too bad. But what has Saka done the last 8 weeks? Well, last 6 weeks for sure. Coming down this stretch, he flamed out. We saw this last year. This was something that happened last year. I am not for one paying a player top dollar like that, and then especially if it's not been consistent, where they're doing it all the time, over and over and over and over, just doing the bits. Because what happened,
a 21-year-old kid to do that's a little much, though.
Yeah, that was what Tony. In that lies my answer. What I'm saying is that if you're bringing in these players that Garrett was just talking about, these upper echelon, world class players that you know, if you're going to get the best of the best, then that's a different ball game. But you're talking about, like you said, 20, 21, 22-year-olds, they're spotty. They're spotty in doing that. And what'll happen is you'll end up with another situation like Ozil, where you sit here and they run it all the way down and you can't get rid of them. Me personally, I wouldn't do it. That's just me. Would I like to resign Saka? Absolutely. But it has to, with these kind of deals, it has to be done with some brevity. Y'all know how I feel about the Eddie Nketiah $100,000. Eddie Nketiah $100,000. We all know that's a 40 to 35 to 40, 45, $50,000 a week deal. We all know that's what that should have been. $100,000. And we gotta eat. We're gonna if we decide to move him, we're gonna have to eat some of that.
Can we do a little time travel?
I hadn't built the machine yet. I'm still working on it because we could have got Ibrahimovic, Ronaldo, and everybody else. So I'm trying to work on that and see if we can do the Spider-Verse.
I mean, the crazy part is if you spend $300,000 a week on Saka, he has to play less. They know that, right? If we're gonna get the $300,000 a week quality player that we want out of him, he can't play as much as he played last season because the games he's going to be playing in the Champions League are going to be much tougher. Every time we play a team in the league, it's going to be tougher. And now we're talking about we still have 2 cup games that he's probably going to maybe be introduced into. So in
addition to international to Euro qualifications, that's around the corner. What's coming up, Stan? What is Euro standing top? What was it? Euro one of them European competitions, the Euro whatever is on the way.
The Euros.
Yeah, you know, as soon as the World Cup is over, we go straight into that, and then international games and all this stupidity, and then you know, running ragged. This is why.
Fucking hungry. It's 2 a.m. Pardon, sorry, Matt. Continue.
Yes. He been trying to get him for the last 10 minutes, but it's you got to if we're gonna go down this route again, then we have to do it cautiously. Because last thing I want is to give somebody a $300,000 deal, and then we stuck with a paperweight. I mean, we already got one in Nketiah. Our bankroll is in trouble because Nketiah is on it. I mean, we're in
I was
$100,000.
going to say earlier, how the fuck are you going to get rid of him?
That's what $100,000. And we have to eat the contract. That's what I just said. In order to move him, we would have to eat that contract
Over 4 years.
over 4. We have to pay a part of that up front to get him off. Or we'd have to make a hell of a swap deal for somebody. And we missed opportunity on that when was it West Ham, Gary, that wanted him for $15 million last year.
So yeah.
Yeah,
I just wonder what agent Tim Sock has had, because it started off and we first offered him a contract in October 2001 of $160,000 a week. I thought that would be pretty good money for him. Now $300,000, want to pay it. Want to pay him over $200,000, making winning and bonuses and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I think
I don't have a problem.
I
don't have a problem with paying a player $400,000, but you have to win stuff to get that much money. Your performance has to show it. What crisp do you have there, Tom?
Let me just say first, what you're describing to me about players not putting in performance that justifies contracts is why people like Michael Jordan were truly elite athletes, because whatever he was earning for the Chicago Bulls, I know it's a different sport, but he won and he won and he won and he won, and they were happy to pay him.
But he was making 5 times the money off the court.
Yeah, no, I mean, Michael Jordan is just like a Tom Brady. They never took their worth during the seasons. If you look at what they were paid, because I think Michael Jordan at the end of his days took like a $25 and $30 million contract, which was massive back in those days. But during the season, when he was winning those 6 championships, he wasn't getting paid a lot, just like a Tom Brady. And that they were just ahead of their time, and they just couldn't afford to pay him. But they, like you said, they were making enough money off the field. It didn't matter. But now, like you said, if we put we know, Gabriel just got a new contract. Saliba needs to get a new contract. Saka is going to get a new contract. Martinelli just got a new contract. They needed to. They're doing all this within like a year and a half. Plus, they still have close to world-class players that they need to bring into this squad. All right. Yep. That's where we are. We need to bring in either world-class or one level below that. Because that's what we need. You're looking at all of the teams we're talking about competing with. They have players that many consider world class, and that's how they can compete, right? We don't have that, not right now, anyways. And the only way we're gonna paying $300K to Saka now, and not putting numbers around him, is a waste of your time and money, right? If you're not gonna, you might as well not do that. You might as well sell him. If you're not gonna, if you're spending that money on him, you have to put the big money up and get the big players in that are gonna play behind him. All right.
Would you sell him for $120 million?
I would if I thought they would do the right thing and get a quality number, like two good players after that. But I don't know if they would do that.
Because I know Ray always compares us to Liverpool, and that's basically what they did.
But look what the players look what players they got during that time, right? What players are we talking about? Like I think Salah came in, Van Dijk, 2 world-class players came in around that time when they sold players.
And I just don't trust us.
They got all that money from Coutinho, remember?
Yeah.
Yep.
120 million or something, wasn't it?
But we have what could be Saka, it could be Martinelli, right? Some say Erdogan. Could be those players that you're talking about. We just don't. They just have right now. They have to perform. They don't have time to work their way up to this thing. They need to perform yesterday. So, Yeah, it's a tough thing. We are coming up. It's been 90 minutes. We barely even got it. We didn't even get into our chips or anything, or jokes or anything today.
We got into them. We just didn't talk about
Yeah,
them.
we didn't have time to talk about them. I know we could talk for longer, but I know some of us got to go. I got to get ready for the work thing tomorrow as well. I appreciate all you guys coming in. We're just gonna let everybody have their say as we get out of here. So, Stan, I'll let you talk while Mr. Tom is munching.
Just to recap, it's very sad and disappointing that it looks like that we're not going to lift the Premier League title this season. I was really hoping that we could do that, because I've even made a mug that I've got ready that I was going to put in the shop as well. So alas, that will probably never get sold now. But I do think that the future is bright for Arsenal. It's going to be now that we're coming into that silly season, and Fabrizio Romano is going to be everywhere, telling us all the ins and outs of what's going on. So we have to go through that now and just hope that we are able to. I think that we will be able to get our targets this season than other seasons, because we're now at the big table. And I think that Arsenal looks like a nice place to be for a player that wants to play good football. So I'm looking forward to see where we go from here.
Definitely. Supposedly Champions League brings them in, so we shall see if that's correct. All right, Mr. Tom.
All right. I just want to say how sad and disappointing it is that Leeds United won't be winning the Premier League. But hopefully we can get silverware next season by winning the championship. I'm not really sure where I was going with this, but yeah. Can I do my question of the week, please?
Yeah, why not? Why not? We got a couple of minutes here, so let's do this.
I got a question. How
Right.
many points was Arsenal ahead in January?
All right.
A lot.
All right. Gonna go the usual format. I'm gonna give you two subjects. Someone pick one that they want, and we can go with a question on Arsenal or a question on Bayern Munich.
Orange.
What? Tony, pick one.
Orange.
I go with Gary. I got chips in my mouth.
Orange. I think we all went orange.
I don't know what that means, to be honest.
So go ahead.
All right.
Bayern Munich, all right? Bayern Munich, go on.
Everyone knows that Bayern Munich humiliated Barcelona 8-2 in the Champions League. Everyone also knows that Philippe Coutinho scored twice for Bayern Munich while on loan. What other unexpected side effect did Coutinho's Champions League run with Bayern Munich have for Barcelona?
Say it again.
What knock
did-
effect did Coutinho's
Yeah.
loan have on Barcelona?
How else did Coutinho's loan to Bayern Munich affect Barcelona?
He scored a goal on him, didn't he?
Other than the fact that he scored twice against them in the 8-2 win.
All right, Stan, I'm gonna let you have it, bro.
I don't know. Sorry, I was writing a text from work. Sorry, I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see if anybody else.
I'll tell you.
We'll see what the next
I
comment
thought
is.
I thought you're giving your giant microphone a hug. It looks so big when it's full screen. Put him up there
That's
again,
what
Gary.
she said. That's what she said.
Put
Sorry.
Stan up there
Sorry.
again, Gary.
Put Stan up there. Why?
Look how massive a fucking microphone is.
It's just kind of because it's close, Tony. That's all.
It looks bigger on
It's
that.
all relative. Yeah, it's
I know
things
it
look
just looks so.
things look
Perspective.
bigger in the mirror. That's all it is.
It's
That's
even
all.
bigger, right?
All right, Mr. Tom. I don't think we got an answer
Okay.
for you.
Okay. Bayern Munich's Champions League win in 2020 triggered a clause in the contract that meant Barcelona had to pay Liverpool £5 million because it stipulated in the contracts that if Philip Coutinho won the Champions League, Barcelona would be required to pay £5 million. It did not stipulate they had to win it for Barcelona. Which showed even more genius financial tomfoolery on the Barcelona side.
There you go. There you
If
go.
anyone's aware of their
Who did it end up going
mismanagement
to?
of their monies.
Who did it end
Villa.
up going to?
Aston Villa.
So say
Steven
goodbye to the
Gerrard.
people. Say goodbye to the people, Mr. Tom.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. This is basically like the equivalent of like the front row seat to like Arsenal fans talking. Really. I mean, I was just sat here listening to you do your thing.
Arsenal
But I
fan
appreciate you
meltdown.
having me. Yep.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me on. Thanks for everyone that participates, especially the people in England that are taking the time to message at silly o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m. exactly, or 2:05. So yeah, have a good week. If you're ill, I hope you're feeling better. If you're not ill, I hope you don't get ill. Take care. Have a good week.
Cool. All right. Tony, say good night.
These wavy lays Cuban sandwich crisps actually taste like Cuban sandwiches. Unlike my BLT last week that tasted like barbecue, but they're like a 9.7 out of 10. But
Okay.
everybody take care, keep your head up, and hopefully we go get the right players.
There you go. All right, Matt. Matt, who's been on the circuit all day today,
Yep.
all across the globe. Everybody's heard him say whatever he had to say. He'll be done talking about the last game, I think, now. All right.
Yep. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. Is it gets worse before it gets better. People, have a good night.
There you go. All right,
What
everyone.
song
Thanks.
are we ending the show with?
Yeah, I got a song for you. So we got I have something to play for you guys on the way out of here. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Yeah, that game, as the title of the show, well, that sucked. Yeah, that sucked. That game we saw on Sunday. Yuck. Hopefully the team responds. But as somebody said, since there's nothing really to play for, it seems again, maybe they come out and play like they did against Chelsea and go out there and blow Nottingham Forest away, even though Nottingham Forest looks like they want to play as well. So come on, Arsenal, let's get this thing done. And as I like to say, life is a journey. Don't waste a trip. Enjoy the ride. And like I said, yeah. See you guys. Have a good one.